The Archer's Inner Battle. Kavi was the finest young archer in the valley. His room was filled with shining trophies, and his name was whispered with awe at every tournament. He could hit a bullseye from 50 paces without a single flicker of doubt in his eyes. To Kavi, life was a series of targets to be hit and people to be beaten. He spent every hour perfecting his aim, believing that his skill made him superior to everyone else. But Kavi's heart was not as steady as his hand. During practice, if a teammate shot better than him, Kavi would scowl and make a sharp comment. He often teased a younger archer named Jace, laughing when Jace's arrows wobbled in the air. Kavi believed that being a champion meant standing alone at the top, looking down on everyone else, unaware that his pride was a heavy burden he carried every day. One morning, a weathered parchment was pinned to the village oak. It announced the Tournament of the Still Mind. The prize was not a golden cup or a ribbon, but a simple, ancient wooden coin. Kavi scoffed at the prize, but he could not stand the thought of someone else claiming a victory he hadn't won. He decided he would enter, if only to prove that no still mind could match his perfect aim. The judge of the tournament was Master Chen, a man whose hair was as white as the mountain snow. Kavi marched up to him, his chest puffed out. "I have conquered every archer in this valley," Kavi boasted. "I will win your tournament before the sun sets." Master Chen only nodded slowly, his eyes kind but unreadable. He looked at Kavi not as a champion, but as a student who had yet to learn his first lesson. The first challenge was not a target, but a test of endurance. Kavi had to hold his bow at full draw while the mountain wind whipped around him, tugging at his clothes and stinging his eyes. For every second the wind blew, Kavi grew more frustrated. He began to grit his teeth, his muscles twitching with a growing, invisible anger. He fought the wind as if it were a physical enemy, losing his balance and his breath. "The wind is not your opponent, Kavi," Master Chen said, walking calmly through the gale as if it were a summer breeze. "Your own impatience is the enemy you are fighting." Kavi let the arrow fly in a fit of pique, and it sailed wide, disappearing into the mist. He let out a sharp cry of rage and threw his bow onto the grass, his face flushed with the shame of missing a shot everyone expected him to make. Master Chen picked up the bow and handed it back with gentle strength. "A warrior may conquer 1,000 men on 1,000 battlefields," he said softly, "but he who conquers his own restless spirit is the noblest victor of all. Until you can defeat your own anger, you will always be its servant. You have lived many years in the shadow of your ego, missing the truth of the world around you." For 7 days, Master Chen did not let Kavi shoot a single arrow. Instead, Kavi was told to sit by a fast-moving stream. He was tasked with watching the bubbles rise and burst, over and over, without reaching out to touch them. At first, Kavi paced like a caged tiger, his mind racing with thoughts of trophies. But slowly, the rhythm of the water began to sink into his bones, and he began to see the water for what it truly was. The final day of the tournament arrived. Kavi's last opponent was Jace, the boy he used to mock. Jace had practiced with a quiet heart, and now stood at the line, calm and focused. Jace shot first, his arrow striking the very center of the gold. The crowd cheered. In the past, Kavi would have felt a surge of jealousy, but now he simply watched, recognizing the beauty in Jace's movement. Kavi stepped to the line. He felt the familiar heat of the sun and the itch of the grass, but he didn't let them bother him. He pulled back the string and felt his ego trying to whisper that he had to win to be worthy. He took a deep breath, acknowledged the thought, and let it go like a bubble in the stream. He wasn't shooting to beat Jace or to win a prize. He was shooting to be at peace. Kavi's arrow landed just a hair's breadth outside of Jace's. For the first time in his life, Kavi had lost a tournament. The crowd went silent, expecting a tantrum like the ones he used to throw. Instead, Kavi lowered his bow, walked over to Jace, and shook his hand with a genuine, warm smile. He felt lighter than he ever had after a victory. He had finally seen the truth beyond the target. Master Chen placed the ancient wooden coin in Kavi's hand. Jace won the match, the master said, but Kavi has won the greatest victory. He has seen the truth sublime. Though one should live 100 years without seeing the truth, his life is but a shadow. Better is a single day's life of one who sees the truth. Kavi looked at the coin, realizing that one moment of clarity was worth a lifetime of gold.